Hey everyone, it's me again. I just had some things on my mind that I want to talk about, so I figured I might as well go ahead and talk about it before, I let it just go and it skips my mind. But first, I did want to read a few scriptures. I'm reading from Exodus chapter 23, verse 1 through the 14th verse. You shall not, and this is coming from the Lord God, Yahuwah. You shall not circulate a false report. Do not put your hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. You shall not follow a crowd to do evil, nor shall you testify in a dispute so as to turn aside after many to pervert justice. You shall not show partiality to a poor man in his dispute. If you meet your enemy's ox or his donkey going astray, you shall surely bring it back to him again. If you see the donkey of one who hates you lying under its burden, and you would refrain from helping it, you shall surely help him with it. You shall not pervert the judgment of your poor in his dispute. Keep yourself far from a false matter. Do not kill the innocent and righteous, for I will not justify the wicked. And you shall take no bribe, for a bribe blinds the discerning and perverts the words of the righteous. Also, you shall not oppress a stranger, for you know the heart of a stranger, because you were strangers in the land of Egypt. 6 years you shall sow your land and gather in its produce. But the 7th year you shall let it rest and lie fallow, that the poor of your people may eat, and what they leave the beasts of the fields may eat. In like manner you shall do with your vineyard and your olive grove. 6 days you shall do your work, and on the 7th day you shall rest, that your ox and your donkey may rest, and the son of your female servant and the stranger may be refreshed. And in all that I have said to you, be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, nor let it be heard from your mouth. 3 times you shall keep a feast to me in the year. That was Exodus, the 23rd chapter, verse 1st through the 14th verse. May this be a blessing to the hearers, readers, and doers of his holy word. So, what I wanted to get into is talking a little bit about some of the things I've been learning about our economy and trying to save our economy, although I think that's far past capability at this point, because so many people are just lost in the sauce, and I don't think there's any coming back from it. But what I wanted to say, that if you are truly spiritual and if you are truly into nature and helping Mother Earth and trying to save our planet, I've been watching recently is Tiny Homes, and like I actually really like the idea of purchasing a tiny home and limiting your carbon footprint. I'm not sure I forget how many diameters a tiny home is legally, but I do think that it is a really smart idea, because you really don't need that big of a space in actuality. And honestly, with tiny homes, you have less cleanup, like, of course it gets cluttered a lot faster, but then again, the cleanup is a lot easier too. and you're helping the planet, because a lot of the people building these tiny homes, they use a lot of old wood. They do a lot of refurbishing, so everything that they use in a lot of these homes are from used material that's kind of been thrown away, or recycled or whatever. I also like the idea in a tiny home of the composting toilets, just because you give back to the nature, and I like the idea of, like, some tiny homes, they collect rainwater and that's what they use for like drinking, and there's toiletry, like flushing and things like that, and even showers. They collect rainwater, which I think is a brilliant idea. It is definitely something I would want to do. Like, I don't think it's necessarily the smartest idea, especially if you're promoting spirituality and nature, to go buy like a big huge house, because you're doing the exact opposite of like what you're claiming to be. So I love the idea of tiny homes. And actually, if I didn't have 2 growing boys, if I didn't have such a big family, I would actually have a tiny home. But with the family I have now, it's pretty much impossible for me to have a tiny home right now. But I do see myself in the future, maybe when I'm older and retired and our kids are out of the house, I could see myself, or me and my husband, moving into like a really nice tiny home in a beautiful area with beautiful scenery. Or even like a what do you call those shipping containers? I see a lot of people living in shipping containers. I really like those too. It's actually a bit more spacious than a tiny home. I just like the fact that tiny homes are more mobile. So I suggest anybody watching this to look up tiny homes and tell me what you think about it, because I think they are really cool, and it's something I definitely see myself doing, if not soon in the future when my kids are all grown. But yeah, and if you're single and you are so pro nature and stuff like that, I definitely would recommend a tiny home. Like, don't waste your money on things that you don't need. Like, you don't need a big huge 2-story house or anything like that. Just get you a tiny home. Like, save that money, because you can spend like $60K on a really nice tiny home, and you just done. That's including furnishing and everything, and you can be completely done and live your life. And then you have all the rest of the money to invest in other things. And I think it's just a really brilliant idea. And on top of that, you're limiting your carbon footprint, and you're saving the planet. Like, and you can literally build your own tiny home from scratch and make it into your own like vibe and personality, while also using unclaimed or materials in the process. And I mean, people find nice little redwood, cherry wood, and just all types of stuff, great material to build their house. Also, I want to talk about refurbishing. I think I'm getting more interested in like the refurbishing aspect of helping our economy and helping our planet. I mean, not necessarily the economy, but our planet. I've been so into getting completely off the grid. It's not even funny. Like, I really wanted to even get like new appliances. Like, I was so gung-ho on, like, we need to get new appliances, we need to do this and that. But then I thought about it, and I was just like, how is this helping our planet? Like, I could easily go and buy new appliances and look like everybody else. have what everybody else has, but how is that helping the environment for me to get rid of something that is works perfectly fine, that's in mint condition, just to get something because it's stainless steel or because it's, you know, an upgrade? That does not help our planet at all. So that's just something like I'm really trying to like stick the path and not fall into, just like what I was reading in Exodus 23, trying not to follow the crowd, because I could easily just go get new appliances even though I don't need it, and be and look like everybody else's kitchen. But I think like I'm just gonna keep what I have. I do like vintage things, so if I do come across something that's like vintage that I really like, that will work well and give my house more personality, I will think about investing in that. Things that have been refurbished, you know, things of that nature, I'm into building character upon. But that's just one thing I was thinking about. Like, start thinking outside the box. Start thinking about how you can refurbish things, or reuse unclaimed, unwanted materials. Because a lot of the stuff that we replace every day, we don't take the time to think about where does that go. Even like with these cars, like I understand the whole thing of having electrical cars and not having to use fossil fuels and things like that, but when you think about it, none of these new electrical cars, like what materials are they made of? Are they refurbishing materials from the older cars to build these new cars? Like, what's going on? It's like a little ass backwards in a way, because you're trying to help the economy, but I mean, you're trying to help the planet, but then again, you're helping to destroy the planet, because what are you building these cars with? Is it completely all new material? Have you even considered like using materials from these older cars and makes and models to recreate something new? Because what's going to happen is a bunch of people are going to be going for these electrical cars, but what are you doing with the materials from the cars that they get rid of or replace? Because something has to be done about those, you know. We can't keep creating new things and then not knowing what to do with the older things that have been created, you know. Just like with the plastic building up and everything like that. There's you know, you have to have an adequate way to make a solution for the problem before moving on to the next thing. Like, you have to deal with the problem at hand first before you move on to the next step. And I think that's what's been missing so far. It's like we want to make changes, but first we have to deal with the plastic problem, with all the, you know, just crap that's been building up to this point. You have to first deal with that before you move on to the next thing, if that makes sense. Another thing I wanted to say, I wanted to give a quick shout out, because there's 3 very powerful, strong female influences that I've really been watching. Literally, they've really been helping me grow. They've got a lot of wisdom, and I see them as my mentors, almost like my mothers, or my spiritual mothers, or even like older sisters maybe in Yah. And that is, I mentioned Myra Waiters before. She's Evangelist Myra Waiters. Another one that I found, and she's incredible, is Chanel Oates, and I'm going to spell it out on the screen. Chanel Oates. And then also, when I just literally found like last week, and now I can't stop watching her, is Dr. J. Lorraine. Dr. J. Lorraine. But these are 3 incredible, powerful women of Yah. And they've really been inspiring me and motivating me to keep going. So, and honestly, these women, I can't wait to meet them, if not on this earthly realm, but in heaven. I can't wait to actually get to know them and pray with them and study with them and talk with them. Honestly, there's some incredible women. And that's just all I had to say today. Pray this message reaches those needing to hear this message. In Yahusha's mighty name I pray. Amen.